They called me cold, heartless, selfish. All because I said no. All because I stopped letting them take whatever they wanted from me. My family said I'd changed, that I wasn't the person I used to be. And they were right. I wasn't. Because the person I used to be gave everything and received nothing. The person I used to be was slowly disappearing. So yes, I set boundaries. And if that made me cold, then I'd rather be cold than empty. My name is Rachel. I'm 47 years old, and for most of my life, I was the person everyone came to. Need money? Call Rachel. Need a place to stay? Rachel will take you in. Need someone to listen to your problems at 2 a.m? Rachel's always awake. I grew up as the middle child in a family of 5. My older brother was the golden child. My younger sister was the baby everyone adored. And I was the responsible one. The one who didn't cause problems. The one who helped Mom with dinner and made sure everyone had what they needed. That role followed me into adulthood. I became the family bank, the emergency contact, the problem solver, and I accepted it. I thought that's what love looked like. Being available, being helpful, being needed. I got married when I was 26. My husband Tom was kind but quiet. He worked long hours and left most of the family responsibilities to me. When my parents needed help with bills, I sent money. When my sister's marriage fell apart, she moved into our guest room for 8 months. When my brother lost his job, I helped him with rent. Tom never complained, but I could see it wearing on him, on us. Our savings account never grew. Our own dreams kept getting pushed aside. We wanted to travel, to buy a bigger house, to have kids. But there was always someone else who needed something first, and I gave it. Every single time. Because that's what family does, right? You show up, you help, you sacrifice. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being a person. I became a resource, a solution to other people's problems. And no one, not one person, ever stopped to ask if I was okay, if I needed anything, if I was tired. I was so tired. The breaking point came on my 45th birthday. Tom and I had planned a weekend away, just the two of us. We'd booked a cabin in the mountains. I was so excited. I needed it. We needed it. The morning we were supposed to leave, my phone rang. It was my sister, Lisa. "Rachel, I need your help," she said, her voice panicked. I felt my stomach drop. "What's wrong?" "I got evicted. I have to be out of my apartment by tomorrow. Can I stay with you for a little while? Just until I figure things out." I closed my eyes. "Lisa, Tom, and I are leaving for a trip today. It's my birthday weekend." I know, she said quickly. "But this is an emergency. I have nowhere else to go. Please, Rachel. I'm your sister." I looked at Tom. He was standing by the door with our bags, watching me. I could see the disappointment in his eyes. He knew what was coming. "How long is a little while?" I asked. "Maybe a month? 2 at most." 2 months. I'd heard that before. When she stayed with us 8 months the first time. "Lisa, I can't. Not this time." Silence. Then her voice changed. "What do you mean you can't?" "I mean, Tom and I need this trip. We've been planning it for months, and I can't keep dropping everything every time there's a crisis." "A crisis?" she repeated, her voice sharp now. "Rachel, I'm about to be homeless. And you're worried about some vacation?" "It's not just a vacation," I said, trying to stay calm. "It's my birthday, and it's time I've been looking forward to. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but I can't fix it right now." "Wow," she said coldly. "I can't believe how selfish you've become. Mom was right about you." "What did Mom say?" "That you've changed, that you're not the same person anymore, that you've gotten cold." Those words hit me like a punch. Cold. Because I said no one time. "I have to go," I said quietly. "Fine. Don't worry about me. I'll figure it out on my own, like I always do." She hung up. I stood there holding my phone, feeling guilty and angry and exhausted all at once. Tom walked over and put his hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. "Let's go." We went on the trip, but I couldn't enjoy it. The whole weekend I kept thinking about Lisa's words. Cold, selfish, changed. When we got back home, there were 12 missed calls. My mother, my brother, my sister, even my aunt. I listened to the voicemails. They were all variations of the same message. How could I abandon my sister in her time of need? How could I be so heartless? What happened to me? I called my mother back. I needed to explain, to make her understand. Mom, I didn't abandon Lisa. I just couldn't help her this one time. Tom and I needed that trip. Rachel, my mother said, her voice disappointed. Family comes first, always. You know that. I raised you better than this. I know, Mom, and I've always put family first. For 20 years, I've put family first, but I'm drowning. I can't keep doing this. Doing what? Helping people you love? That's called being a good person, Rachel. I am a good person, I said, my voice shaking, but I'm also a person who needs things, who has limits, who can't fix everyone's problems all the time. Limits? She repeated, like the word tasted bad. Since when do you have limits with family? Since I realized that giving everything away was leaving me with nothing. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. You've become hard, Rachel. I don't even recognize you anymore. This isn't the daughter I raised. I felt tears sting my eyes. Maybe the daughter you raised didn't know how to say no. Maybe she didn't know she was allowed to have boundaries. But I'm learning now, Mom. And if that makes me hard, then I'm sorry. But I can't go back to being who I was. Then I guess we don't have much to talk about, she said, and she hung up. I sat there in silence, staring at my phone. My own mother had just hung up on me because I set a boundary, because I said no. Tom found me crying on the couch an hour later. He didn't say anything. He just held me. And when I finally stopped crying, I said the words I'd been too afraid to say out loud. I don't think they ever really loved me. They just loved what I could do for them. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest of my life. My family stopped calling, stopped texting. It was like I'd been erased. At first, I felt guilty. I questioned everything. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe I should apologize. But Tom reminded me of something important. Rachel, name one time in the last 10 years that someone in your family helped you with something. One time. I thought about it. I really did. And I couldn't. Not one time. They'd never helped us move. Never offered to help with expenses when Tom was laid off for 3 months. Never showed up when I had surgery last year. But I'd been there for every single one of their emergencies. That realization hurt. But it also freed me. I started therapy. I needed to understand why I'd let this happen. Why I'd given so much for so long without expecting anything in return. My therapist told me something I'll never forget. You weren't being loving. You were being afraid. Afraid that if you said no, they wouldn't love you anymore. And now that you've said no, you're finding out that your fear was valid. But that doesn't mean you were wrong to set the boundary. It means they were wrong to make love conditional. Those words changed everything for me. I stopped waiting for them to reach out. I stopped feeling guilty. I started investing in my own life. Tom and I went on another trip. We started saving money again. We talked about our future without worrying about who might need us next. And slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Not the self they wanted me to be, but the self I actually was. 6 months later, my brother called, not to ask for money, just to talk. He said he'd been thinking about everything, about how much I'd done over the years, and how little they'd appreciated it. I'm sorry, Rachel, he said. You weren't cold. You were just tired, and we never noticed. I cried when he said that, because it was the first time anyone had seen me, really seen me. We talk now, not often, but when we do, it's real. He doesn't ask for anything. He just checks in, and that's enough. My mother and sister still don't speak to me, and I've made peace with that, because I've learned that not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone will respect them, and that's okay. You don't need everyone's approval. You just need your own peace. It's been almost 2 years since I set my first real boundary. 2 years since I was called cold for protecting myself. And I can honestly say I'm not cold. I'm warm, just not for people who only wanted to take. I've learned that boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. And you get to choose who comes through. You get to decide who has access to your time, your energy, your resources, your heart. And if someone gets angry when you close the door, it's probably because they were used to walking through it without knocking. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. It means you've learned the difference between helping and being used, between loving and being drained, between giving and being taken from. If someone calls you cold for saying no, ask yourself this: were they ever warm to you? Did they ever give you what they're asking you to give them? Or have they always just taken? Family isn't supposed to be one-sided. Love isn't supposed to be exhausting. And you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. So if you're reading this or listening to this, and you've been called cold for setting boundaries, I want you to know something. You're not cold. You're not heartless. You're not selfish. You're just finally taking care of yourself. And that's not something to apologize for. That's something to be proud of. I know I am.